Florida. A world of entertainment, wealth, crime, and chases.
Golden hour, let the fun begin. Yeah, yeah. We on fire, light up the night.
I did not say that!
Miami Heat, can you feel the vibe?
A beautiful young bride, a husband in love with her. It could have been a story of sacrifice and love, but one day,
I'm Sergeant Ramsey. I'm the one that called you. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry to call you. Listen, we had a report of a disturbance at your house, and there were shots fired. Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am. He's been killed.
a luxury Florida home and yellow police tape surrounding the house.
Try to calm down. Listen, right now we need to get you to the station. We need to...
The young woman learns that her husband has been murdered and begins to cry hysterically in the arms of the police. Everything so far is like the opening scene of a tragic Hollywood movie, right? But wait, there is no body involved. The tears are completely fake. The crime scene is a theatrical stage carefully orchestrated by the police. And most bizarre of all, everything happening is being recorded second by second by the cameras of a famous, record-breaking American reality TV show. Why would a young woman plan the murder of her own husband? Why is she unaware that television cameras are filming everything while she negotiates with a hitman? And most importantly, how did this incident turn into a shaggy dog story that lasted for years and shook the foundations of the American legal system, media ethics, and the police force?
Burst in the courtroom as Dalia Dippolito's ex-husband took the stand facing the woman convicted of trying to have him killed.
Today I will tell you about the Dalia Dippolito case, where crime became not just a physical act, but also digital content, chilling the blood of those who watched. We will examine every detail, from the psychological depths of the characters to the financial anatomy of the betrayal, from the undercover sting operation to the years-long courtroom battles. Some secrets and incredible turning points in the courtroom are hidden in the later parts of the video. To fully understand this web of manipulation, you need to watch this video until the very last second. If you're ready, we're going to the hot and dangerous streets of Florida, to August 2009.
Palm trees swaying in the heat, a perfect plan, a clean retreat. 5,000%, the price is paid in the shadows where the traps are laid. The cameras watch, the tears run dry underneath that bright blue Florida sky. Everything's a stage, the truth is cold, the greatest story never told.
By the way, we need your help to grow our channel and work on more content. All you need to do is like the video and subscribe to the channel right now. We hope you won't turn down this sincere request. If you're ready, let's get to the main event. The summary of the event is actually simple, yet equally spine-chilling. In 2009, 26-year-old Dalia Dippolito, living in Boynton Beach, Florida, decided to hire a hitman to eliminate her husband of only 6 months, Michael Dippolito.
Hey, we're staying in here, right?
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he looks good.
However, there was a critical detail Dalia didn't know. The hitman she agreed with and paid a deposit to was actually an undercover detective working for the Boynton Beach Police Department.
Did you ever ask her specifically if she wanted to have her husband killed?
Yes, I did.
And how did she answer?
She said, well, I wouldn't say it like that.
The most interesting part of this case, which made it go viral worldwide, was the unbelievable strategy implemented by the police. On the day Dalia agreed to have her husband killed, while she was at the gym, the police went to her house and staged a fake crime scene. Police tape was put up everywhere, CSI teams were deployed, and when Dalia returned home, she was told her husband had been killed. Dalia's display of fake devastation and crying fits at those moments were being recorded by the cameras of the famous American reality show, Cops. These images were uploaded to YouTube by the police on the same day, reaching millions of views and creating a global media frenzy.
Right now at 5:30, an unexpected twist in the Dalia Dippolito trial had her attorneys scrambling today. Her lawyers were caught off guard when prosecutors suddenly rested their case.
And they had to race to get their witnesses to the courthouse.
But this was just the beginning. The case moving to the courts would open up a debate on the ethical boundaries of police cooperation with the world of show business, leading to 3 separate trials, hung juries, and a legal chaos that extended all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. To understand the actions of the people in this event, we need to connect with them a bit and look closely at their backgrounds and psychology. Let's get to know the leading actors of this dark story in detail. Dalia Dippolito. The name at the center of our story is Dalia. At the time of the incident, Dalia was 26 years old and appeared to be an ordinary, attractive, and innocent-looking woman from the outside. However, her past was quite different. When she met Michael, Dalia was actually working for an escort service. According to the analysis of the prosecution and forensic psychologists, Dalia had an almost innate talent for manipulating people, especially men. Her lack of emotion, cold-bloodedness, and belief in her own lies displayed during the court processes would be interpreted by experts as antisocial personality traits and a lack of conscience. For her, marriage was a planned asset acquisition operation rather than a matter of love. Michael Dippolito. Our victim is Michael, aka Mike. However, he wasn't a perfect victim either. Mike was a former con artist who had been convicted of stock trading fraud and was on probation at the time of the events.
Your wife has hired a person to kill you. Just take it easy, take a deep breath.
In October 2008, he had hired Dalia as an escort for sex. However, he was so captivated by Dalia's charm that he divorced his own wife shortly after they met and married Dalia in February 2009, just 5 days after the divorce was finalized.
Defense in the other trial, I know it's something different, it was a reality TV show, which is ridiculous.
Listen, I'm not going to fight with you. Honestly, I can't help you. Don't you understand what happened? What they're saying is not true. How is that possible? Like I'm sitting there. It's not true. It's not possible. You wouldn't even give me 2 minutes to talk to you. It's not possible.
Mike's criminal past and fear of going back to prison created a perfect vulnerability for Dalia to manipulate him. Accomplices and lovers, Mohammed Shihadeh and Mike Stanley. Dalia didn't just have her husband in her life. Her ex-boyfriend and also an escort client, Mohammed Shihadeh, was the key figure who allowed this conspiracy to be solved. Dalia had asked Shihadeh to find a hitman to kill her husband, but Shihadeh reported this to the Boynton Beach Police Department. Another name was Mike Stanley. Stanley, Dalia's other lover, was a pawn helping Dalia in this web of financial conspiracy. Dalia had invented a fake pregnancy to hide the money she stole from her husband and had Stanley speak on the phone in the role of a doctor. Even worse, Stanley posed as a lawyer, and called her husband Mike, telling him that his probation process was over and he no longer needed to go to his probation officer. The goal was to make Mike violate the rules and send him back to prison. Boynton Beach Police Department, BBPD, and Detective Whitey Jean. Law enforcement stepped in to disrupt Dalia's plan. At the center of the operation was Whitey Jean, a black undercover officer posing as a hitman. Jean would play the role of the hitman so convincingly that Dalia wouldn't have the slightest suspicion. However, the police's decision to include the popular reality show Cops cameras in this operation would ignite a massive ethical debate that would last for years over whether they were pursuing justice or ratings. So, why did Dalia want to kill her husband? How did she make this decision? According to forensic documents and case findings, this was not a simple murder of passion. It was a high-scale financial crime and property transfer operation executed step by step, months in advance. In the very first months of their marriage, Dalia had slowly stolen Michael's cash savings of approximately $100,000 through fake transactions via Mike Stanley. However, the real big target was the joint townhouse where the couple lived, valued at $250,000. Dalia knew her husband's weakness very well, his criminal past. She constructed a fake fear scenario, telling Michael that the government could seize this house because of his legal history. Her goal was to convince Michael to transfer the deed of the house entirely to her name, and she succeeded. But Dalia had missed one detail. She realized that even if she had the deed in her name, she needed her husband's signature when she wanted to sell the house, according to Florida laws. This situation infuriated Dalia. In one message, she clearly stated her anger regarding this situation. First, she tried to have her husband thrown in jail. She had her lover act as a fake lawyer to prevent him from going to his probation officer. When this didn't work, she secretly placed drugs inside her husband's luxury SUV and then called the police to make anonymous tips. If drugs were found in her husband's car, his probation would be revoked and he would go to prison for years. If the husband went to jail, the house and the money would belong entirely to Dalia. However, the police realized that this drug setup was framed on the husband. According to court records, another horrific method Dalia tried was attempting to poison her husband by adding antifreeze to his iced tea. When this silent murder attempt failed, Dalia decided there was only one solution left. Michael had to be eliminated permanently and bloodily. And for this, a professional hitman was needed.
Hey, we're staying in Paris.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Man, he looks good.
The date is August 2009. Dalia gets into a vehicle to meet the hitman arranged through her informant lover. The man sitting in the seat next to her is undercover police officer Whitey Jean, whom she thinks is a hitman. Cameras and microphones hidden inside the car record everything. This meeting lasted exactly 23 minutes. Dalia was so relaxed that she occasionally fixed her hair and smiled nervously. Officer Jean asks her one last time to test her and clarify her intent. "Are you sure you want to kill this guy?" Dalia replies with a slight giggle. "Do we really have to do this? I mean, I would have liked to look a little bit more casual about this deal." Then she calmly starts asking about the plan. "So how are we going to do this at the house? I mean, how soon can you do it? What time are we looking at?" Officer Jean explains that he will make the murder look like a burglary. "I can do it Wednesday morning. Most people are at work during the day. I'll break into the house. He'll be there, and he'll be shot twice in the head. That's it. I'll break a few windows, take a few items, make it look like a robbery gone bad, and everything's done." Dalia nods and approves, saying, right, while hearing this blood-curdling plan. The police officer asks if Dalia can handle the pressure. "The police are going to ask you questions. I don't know how you handle pressure, you understand?" Dalia's answer summarized her psychology. I'm a lot tougher than I look. I know you look at me and say, what a cute little girl, but I'm not. At the end of the meeting, the police give her one last chance. From now until the time the job is done, you won't have a chance to change your mind. Dalia shakes her head vigorously. No, it's not going to change. I'm already determined. Dalia delivers a $1,200 deposit as part of the $7,000 agreement, providing photos of her husband and a sketch of her house. The plan seemed perfect. However, she was unaware that she was the one being hunted.
I'm Sergeant Ramsey. I'm the one that called you. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry to call you. Listen, we had a report of a disturbance at your house, and there were shots fired. Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed.
A few days later, the plan seemed to be working perfectly. The house was swarming with police. The real husband, Michael Dippolito, had already been taken to a safe place at the police station. When Dalia returned home from the gym, where she went to establish her alibi, she saw the police tape. Sergeant Frank Ramsey approached her and told her that her husband had fallen victim to a murder. While the cameras were recording, Dalia gave an incredible performance. She was screaming, collapsing into the arms of the police, and crying. However, there was one thing that didn't escape the attention of the police. There wasn't a single drop of real tears in Dalia's performance. The prosecution would call this crocodile tears in court.
We received a call that was transferred in to our detective bureau related to a woman who wanted to hire a hitman to kill her husband. Once we got the information confirmed, where we actually had our source meet the suspect, and we were able to confirm everything, we were rolling really quick. And right now, we're going to play the video, the surveillance tape that we have with the undercover officer meeting with the suspect in the surveillance parking lot where she actually completed the solicitation for hire.
Got the video?
Yep. She just got in the car. She seems real relaxed.
First thing first, and then I do my thing. It's gonna have lowballing. The price is really, really low.
He's lowballing it. The price is low.
So I just want to make sure that this is what you want. All right. So, sure you want to kill this dude?
We really have to.
All right.
You know, it's just.
Dalia was brought to the Boynton Beach Police Department after the crime scene formalities. Everyone was playing a role. The police were still saying Michael was dead, and Dalia continued to play the grieving wife. At this point, Dalia was 100% sure she had fooled everyone.
First-degree murder on your husband. Your husband is well and alive.
Thank God.
Oh yeah, thank God.
Can I see him?
No, he doesn't want to see you.
I so wanted to see him.
He doesn't want to see you.
Please.
You better quit your playing. Listen to me. I want you to quit your acting and get this over with.
I'm not.
Yes, you are. Okay. You know what? You need a real good attorney. You need a real good attorney because we're going to show them the film where you say you're 5,000% sure you want him dead. You think I made that up? You think I made that up? It's exactly what's going to happen. I'm talking with you. When I leave this room, no other officer will ever talk to you again. Next time we see you is when you're in trial. Now you can make it right here, or you're going to trial, and you're going to do life in prison. You want to cooperate with us, whatever you want to do. It's over and done once I walk out. I'm not coming back in to talk to you. And no one else is either. What do you want to do before I leave here? Because the next officer comes here, going to handcuff you and take you to the jail.
See my husband, please.
No, he doesn't want to see you. He doesn't want to see you. I'm leaving now. We're going to have an officer come in here and cuff the person.
I don't know what's going on, please.
We'll go ahead and arrest her for solicitation first degree murder.
What's happening, please?
Can you stand up?
Stand up, please.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
He's alive.
Come here, please. Come here. Mike, come here. Come here, please. Come here.
Can't fix it.
Why not? I didn't do anything
I
to
heard
you.
you.
Mike, come here, please. Come here.
Okay, thank you. We'll take her back to booking, please.
Dalia Dippolito is currently serving her sentence in a Florida state prison. If she serves her full sentence, she will be 50 years old when she gets out of prison. She wanted to be the lead actress in a reality show script she wrote herself. However, the finale of this show ended behind bars, not in a luxury Florida home. Greed for money, lies, undercover police, and television channels interfering with justice for the sake of ratings. The Dalia Dippolito case has taken its place in judicial history as one of the darkest and most complex events of the modern era. So, what do you think about this case? Did the police really cross the ethical boundaries of the case by involving the cops television crew in the operation? Or is a 16-year prison sentence too little for Dalia? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. If you like the analysis of such detailed forensic cases, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next file. Stay with justice.
Palm trees swaying in the heat, a perfect plan, a clean retreat. 5,000%, the price is paid in the shadows where the traps are laid. The cameras watch, the tears run dry underneath that bright blue Florida sky. Everything's a stage, the truth is cold, the greatest story never told.